Welcome to the Archive Network. I'm Aurelius, and with me, as always, Malik. We curate the classified archive. Today, we open a new file, 9/11 Conspiracy Theories. Malik, you've had this one on your desk for a while. On a clear September morning in 2001, chaos erupted in the heart of America. The world watched as two commercial airliners crashed into the twin towers of the World Trade Center. A third plane struck the Pentagon, while a fourth crashed in Pennsylvania. This unprecedented assault killed nearly 3,000 people, leaving a lasting scar on the American psyche.
It's important to remember that beneath the immediate wave of grief, a tide of suspicion began to rise. While many came together to mourn, others felt uneasy. They started to question the narrative being pushed. The official story just didn't sit right with everyone. It opened the floodgates for conspiracy theories, each one claiming to reveal some hidden truth, often at the expense of those who were suffering the most. People wanted answers, and when they didn't get them, doubt began to fester.
The chaos following the attacks ignited an intense media frenzy. News outlets scrambled to piece together the fragmented story, while independent journalists began picking apart the official accounts with a fine-tooth comb. Early reports hastily linked the hijackers to al-Qaeda, painting a picture of a meticulously planned operation. However, as more information trickled in, anomalies started to surface. We saw many begin to question the established narrative, indicating that not everything was as it seemed. This is the nature of such events.
You mean the same narrative that glossed over critical failures in intelligence? After the Twin Towers fell, it became a battleground for debate. Official investigations concluded that impacts and fires weakened the structures. But many architects and engineers pushed back, arguing that the speed of the collapses hinted at something more sinister, something that put lives at stake. We can't forget the human cost in all of this. The families torn apart, the heroes who rushed in to help.
The National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, certainly faced its share of scrutiny in the aftermath. However, their conclusions were quite clear. The impacts, along with the subsequent fires, were more than enough to compromise the integrity of the towers. I recognize that many voices, particularly those of engineers, have called for a thorough reevaluation of the findings. It's a complex issue, one that demands our attention and critical thought as we navigate the legacy of such events.
Complex, yes, but not beyond scrutiny. Eyewitness accounts have added to the growing skepticism around what really happened. Many people reported hearing explosions both before and during the collapse. Firefighter Stephen Gregory's testimony about those explosions is especially crucial. His experience highlights the confusion and fear of that day. These accounts challenge a simplistic view of the disaster, reminding us that real lives were affected, and we owe it to them to dig deeper into the truth.
Those testimonies resonate deeply with the public's yearning for clarity and understanding. However, we must draw a clear line between speculation and hard evidence. The notion of controlled demolition isn't something we can accept lightly. It demands rigorous support and scrutiny. Yet, when we consider the sheer nature of the tower's collapse, it's no surprise that many are left questioning the official narrative. The unanswered questions linger, feeding a sense of doubt that can be quite unsettling for a society seeking the truth.
And it's not just about the collapse itself. The government's role leading up to the attacks is just as contentious. The 9/11 Commission report laid bare some serious intelligence failures. Many people feel it lacked the transparency we needed. Critics argue it left out crucial connections between the hijackers and specific U.S. entities. What's heartbreaking is that these failures affected real lives. Families lost loved ones, and the ripple effects are still felt today. We owe it to those people to dig deeper.
You're correct about the report's shortcomings. Condoleezza Rice faced intense scrutiny for her testimony, and rightly so. The memo titled, "Bin Laden Determined to Strike in U.S." had prior warnings that were largely ignored. But attributing blame isn't straightforward. It's a tangled web of failures. The failure of intelligence is a systemic issue, not merely individual. We must recognize that these lapses reflect broader institutional weaknesses. It's a reminder that in history, patterns often repeat, and we must learn from them.
Systemic, yes. But let's really think about this. Who truly benefited? The aftermath of 9/11 led to major shifts in U.S. foreign policy. Some theorists suggest that certain factions within the government had a real interest in keeping those conflicts alive. It's hard to ignore the economic gains from defense contracts. Meanwhile, countless families were affected, losing loved ones or facing hardship. We have to ask ourselves, at what cost did this all come?
The intertwining of politics and profit is hardly a new phenomenon in our world. History shows us, time and again, that war has always had its beneficiaries, those who profit from chaos and conflict. But we must tread carefully when we connect those dots. The emotional weight of loss must guide our exploration of these theories. After all, we're talking about lives affected, families shattered. It's crucial to remember that the human cost should never be overshadowed by the lure of power.
That emotional weight is so vital to understand. Families of the victims weren't just looking for answers. They were searching for accountability, for some sense of justice. That's why the 9/11 Families Association became such an important platform for those in mourning. Their protests against the Commission's shortcomings weren't just about politics. They highlighted a profound need for transparency. In the face of such deep loss, it's essential to hear their voices and recognize their struggle for truth.
The quest for answers shapes the lives of those on the path to closure. Their relentless pursuit mirrors a nation wrestling with fear and uncertainty. Conspiracy theories, though often brushed aside, resonate with a deeper societal unease. As we reflect on that fateful day, we find that the questions raised still echo in our minds. They linger like shadows, reminding us that unresolved issues can haunt a society long after the dust has settled.
That's where we leave it for now. Part 1 of 5, 9/11 Conspiracy Theories is far from done. If you're new here, we're Aurelius and Malik, curators of the Classified Archive, part of the Archive Network. Part 2 drops soon.